Hey there, my name is Ethan Lowry. I'm a wedding and commercial photographer based here in Auckland, New Zealand. And today we're going to talk about my mentality and approach for creating better couple photos. And this applies to standalone engagement photos or pre-wedding photos or wedding day portraits. Just anywhere where you have a situation where you have real people in love and your task is to photograph them. And let me be super clear. Everyone has their own approach. Everyone has their own style of working, their own personality that they take into a shoot. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way to do this. I'm saying these are the things that I've learned and the things that I apply to every single shoot to improve my work each and every time. I won't be covering the really technical bits like how I use lighting in different situations, how I read a sunset. These are more internal factors and internal tools that I use to connect better with my couples and help them connect in front of the camera. So let's crack in. Now let's just get the gear stuff out of the way, because it's the least important part of this process. You can shoot epic photos of couples on any camera, whether it's a $20 point and shoot film camera or a $20,000 GFX kit. Doesn't really matter. Obviously this is up to preference and style and what your couples are expecting from you. Again, there's not an explicitly right or wrong way to do this. I tend to keep things really simple. I bring a single body and a single lens to every shoot. These days that's the GFX 100 Mark II and the 55mm f1.7, which gives you roughly a 43mm equivalent field of view in full frame terms. So it's a very natural field of view and incredibly flexible. So you can shoot nice wide landscapes with it, but also at the same time you flip it into portrait orientation and come up nice and close. And you have a little bit of distortion, but it's very well controlled. So you can get nice tight portraits. So for me, this versatility enables me to do creatively basically anything that I want on a shoot, whether it's wide or super close up. And I don't have to think about gear. I show up single camera, single lens, and I know I can do anything that I want to do within that space. When you can pretty effortlessly get any shot that you want with the gear that you bring, the gear just gets out of the way of the creative process and you can kick on with what actually matters, and that is connecting with your couple and making them feel super comfortable on that side of the camera. When I get feedback from a couple after a shoot, it generally sounds like this. Thank you for making us feel so comfortable. We didn't expect to have so much fun, and we love the images. And you can achieve these three things simultaneously by being a friend rather than being a photographer. So what do I mean by this? So generally a couple will see and connect with your work and have a level of excitement about the shoot, but also a level of apprehension, because while they see the outcome, they don't see generally how it's made and the steps that it takes to get there. Probably 99% of the time, the shoot that we're on is the first time the couple's having photos together. They may have had family photos in the past, or they may have had a senior portrait or whatever else done. But our engagement shoot or the wedding shoot, this is the first time they're actually having photos together. So they're not always super comfortable being on that side of the camera. And comfortability is really the single greatest barrier that we have as photographers between us and getting really lovely connected photos. So at a typical engagement shoot, I won't even pick up a camera, or I won't point a camera at the couple for the first 10-15 minutes. Instead, we'll walk, we'll talk, we'll get to know each other a bit. I try to unpack who the couple are and what their relationship is like, how they are together, who they are individually. And then the more vulnerable I can be without oversharing, the more comfortable the couple is with having their photos taken, because they can relate. We're all in it to make something really cool, and we all want to be stoked with the outcome. I'll joke around, have a laugh, see what jokes land, see what don't quite land, in the lead up to actually shooting, so that by the time we shoot, I have a really good understanding of what works and what maybe doesn't work. And of course, love and care is expressed on this massive spectrum. So if you can get a feel for that before you even point a camera at them, the experience of having their photos taken is infinitely better, because you're not putting them in any uncomfortable situations during that process. I straight up tell couples, as a general rule, I won't ask you to kiss. If you feel like kissing at any point, have at it. I'll snap it up. The more at ease and the more comfortable you can make your couple when they're on camera, the more natural the photos will feel. The couple will leave the shoot super stoked, and when they see the images, they'll feel like those images really reflect them and their relationship and their connection, rather than a connection that we are trying to impose on our couples. Take a few minutes up front, get to know your couple, get to understand who they are together, who they are individually, and then feed into that energy throughout the shoot, because it's a lot of fun. When you're on the same page and when you can have empathy and understand who they are, your outcome will inevitably be better. And finally, slowing down is a biggie, and this for me just came with time and experience. I haven't taken any photography courses. I didn't do anything in high school. I haven't used a darkroom before. So especially in the beginning of my photography journey, I felt like an imposter. And I was so convinced that everyone around me saw me as an imposter. And I think this created this really unsettled feeling. And this insecurity definitely held me back in the beginning. Question myself, I'd rush into decisions. I'd kick myself when things didn't work out the way I thought they would. And then I'd rush into something else to try to recover. And this whole rushed and not really considered workflow it doesn't work. And as I've grown in photography, I've learned to slow down, observe, listen, check in with my couple, keep lines of communication open and really clear while still being the authority on the shoot. And these days when I try things and maybe they don't work out, I don't take it too seriously or too hard. That's the nature of it. So after a while, you get a feeling for what works and what doesn't. You understand light better, know what works in terms of couple direction. You know when to take creative risks and maybe not to take them, or how to at least bounce back and recover from them when creative risks don't pan out. And you get into a really good rhythm. It kind of becomes second nature, and you start to really push your creative boundaries, and you don't rebound into another decision that's going to land you somewhere unfortunate as well. So I think that pretty much wraps things up. In summary, keep your gear simple, be curious and understand your couple, and slow down. So like I said earlier, I'm going to make a follow-up video to this that's a little bit more technical. So that'll look more at how I use and look for light, what I look for in different settings, where I position my couples in frames, and specifically what camera settings I use to streamline that workflow. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was helpful, at least a little bit. Maybe there's a gold nugget somewhere in there. If not, thanks for watching anyway. I'll see you in the next one.